Hey, Knobhill Nighthawks, here we are with Module 1, Lesson 11. We're getting a little bit away from, we're getting into a new topic, so we are not going to be working on rounding as much. We're going to be moving into addition. So our focus today is I am successful when I can fluently add multi-digit whole numbers using the standard addition algorithm. Okay, so we are going to be looking at addition and being able to line it up and think about that place value chart in our brain as we add to help us make sure that we're adding numbers correctly. Okay, so our first problem is 3,134 plus 2,493. So we can think of this as if I were to draw a tape diagram, and I have 3,134, and I also have 2,493. What we're trying to figure out is what is our whole value, okay? So our standard algorithm is when we're going to line them up, one on top of the other. When we are adding and subtracting, we always like to have our larger number on top. Larger number goes on top. It's more important with subtraction. So if you kind of get in that habit, the larger number always goes on top. Then when we get to a subtraction here in a couple lessons, then that'll help you not forget that piece, okay? So when we are adding or subtracting, but today we're just talking about adding, we always start with our ones place. So your ones, you add to your ones, tens, you add to your tens, hundreds to hundreds, and thousands to thousands. But if we ever need to carry over because we have more than 10 in a certain place value, just like when we have in our place value chart, if I had 13 ones, then I move 10 of those to the next place value. That's the same with addition, okay? So I'm going to take my 4 plus 3, that gives me 7. 3 plus 9, you can always count up from your larger number. If you can't automatically think in your head what 3 plus 9 is, start with 9, 10, 11, 12. Because we have more than 10, we carry 1 over and bring down our 2. Now we have 4, 5 plus the 1 we carried over, so it's 4, 5, 6. Bring our comma down into our answer. And then 3 plus 2, 3, 4, 5. So our total value for 3,134 plus 2,493, we can say is 5,627. Some tips with adding: if you have graph paper at home and maybe you're a really big writer or maybe you're a messy writer, it helps a lot if you have graph paper, because then you can really see your different place values as you go, and you can make sure that my ones I'm adding correctly, my tens, hundreds, and thousands, okay? Because if I add my ones to my tens or my tens to my ones and I'm not lining it up just right, or I'm not carrying it over correctly, then our numbers are going to be off. All right, let's practice another one. Okay, here's our next problem. So notice I'm not just working with thousands, I'm working with 10,000s. Again, we can think of these as two parts of our whole. So we could, represent that in our tape diagram. Well, half of this is worth 40,762. The other half is 30,473. We're trying to figure out what is that total value of our tape diagram. So to do that, we need to add them. Again, I'm going to get in a habit of putting my larger number on top. I have 40,762. And as I mentioned with the last one, it's really important for you to line your place values up correctly. And if you need to draw lines, to help you keep nice and neat, you are welcome to do that. Okay. So here's 30,473. So 30,473. And now I can clearly see here's my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. And that's what I'm adding together. Okay. 2 plus 3 gives me 5. 6 plus 7. Again, you can count up if you want to, or I always say, well, 6 and 6 is 12. One more. There's all these different tricks and strategies that you can use to add quickly in your head. So this is 13. Because I have more than 10, I'm going to carry 1 over to my hundreds place, because remember, if I have 10 tens, then that's going to be 1 100. Remember when we worked on that with our place value chart? That's why we only carry 1 over instead of 10 over. So if I have 13 tens, well, 10 of those make 100. Okay. So now I have 7, 8 plus 4 gives me 12. Again, that's more than 10. So I'm going to carry 1 of those over to my thousands place. 2 of those stay. 1, 0, and 0. It's going to give me 1. 4 plus 3 gives me 7. So our final sum of the two is 71,235. So come back up here and say, well, it's not a question mark anymore. I know that that is 71,235. Okay. It's really important that we do our carryover. If we have more than 10 in a certain place value, we have to carry 10 over, which converts to 1 more in our next place value. Okay, because if I wouldn't have carried those over, that would have changed my answer quite significantly. Okay. All right, here's our next problem. So we are working into the 100,000s now, but our process is the same. It doesn't change how we solve the problem, no matter how large it gets. The steps are the same. Okay, we want to make sure that we're lining it up nicely. Our neatness is on point. If you're a really big, messy writer, then I'd really recommend getting some graph paper. Or if you have your notebooks and you turn it sideways and then your lines go up and down instead of sideways, then that's a really good trick for you to do addition and any math, really, to keep your numbers nice and neat. Okay, so I have 207,426 plus 128,744. So I'm going to line them up, make my standard algorithm. That's what this is called. We're using the standard algorithm to add our numbers. Okay, so same thing. I start at the ones and I work over. If I have more than 10 in a certain place value, then 10 of those convert to 1 of the largest or the larger value to the next or to the left of it. So 6 plus 4, that gives me 10. So I'm going to put a 0 here because that 10 is going to convert to 110. 4, 5, 6, 7. Didn't have to do any carrying because I only had 7. 7 plus 4 is going to give me 11. So because I have more than 10, I need to carry 1 over, but that leaves me with 100. Okay, I have 8. If I combine these, that makes 8. So I know that 8 and 8 gives me 16. So that's going to leave me with 6, because 10 of those I'm going to convert over to 10,000s. Now I have 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, so 207,426 plus 128,744 gives me a sum. So the answer to an addition problem is called sum. S-U-M, not S-O-M-E, like I want some of that cake. It's S-U-M. So if you ever say, find the sum of this problem, then they're wanting you to add. Okay? All right, so we're going to do one more problem with a word problem. So this is just a one-step problem. So the Lane family took a road trip. During the first week, they drove 907 miles. They drove 907 miles. On the second week, they drove the same amount as the first week plus an additional 297 miles. How many miles did they drive during the second week? So they're not asking us how many miles did they drive altogether. It's only asking us how many miles did they drive the second week. And it told us that the second week they drove the same amount as the first week, which was 907, plus an additional 297. So that means we're going to have to add 297 to our 907. Okay, so again, we want to use our standard algorithm, which means we put our larger number on top, our smaller number on the bottom, making sure that our place values are lined up. Ones, tens, hundreds. Okay, 7 and 7 can be 14. More than 10. So 10 of those is going to become 1 to the place value to the left, but I'm still going to have 4 because I had 14. Now I have 9, 10. That's going to leave me with 0 tens, but one group of 100. 9, 10, 11, 12. Because I don't have any more to carry over to, that 12 gets written just as such. 12, because if you think about that, if I have 12 hundreds, well, that's going to give me 1,000 because I can bundle 10 of those and move them over, and that leaves me with 2 hundreds. Okay, so our final sum is 1,204. So if you had to write your answer statement for that, you would say, in the second week, they drove 1,204 miles. Okay. So again, we will be working on this a little bit more. The next lesson, we're doing some more word problems, but still working with addition. And it'll be our focus for small groups this week. So if you have any questions, comment, email, let me know. And we will see you soon. Have a great day.